Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about the Suzaku Aqua, or Suzaku. Suzaku hooty hoo hooty woo. Anyway, can be ridden as a flying mount, enhances water attacks while mounted. So we did some stuff with this as far as the breeding. We ended up getting our Lord of the Sea on here, which is an increase to water attacks. The way that I'm seeing it with any of the enhanced elemental types that we have, such as the Suzaku Aqua, Yormatide Ignis, Blaze of Mud, so on and so forth, you really do want to take and bring over the either Lord of or Emperor of said elemental whatever, because of the simple fact that that's just going to increase the damage even more, such with Shadowbeak like we had seen. Now, the good thing about Suzaku Aqua being a water type is it is, I believe, the only flying water type, which is pretty cool, other than the other one, Aqua. I'm not going to butcher the name. This thing, the Aqua version of this. Elf Hydra, Elf Hydran, Elefino. Regardless, those are the only two flying water types that I can think of right offhand. Suzaku is going to be a lot stronger, especially with the enhancement combined with Lord of the Sea, getting a lot of power with that, and with elemental damage stacking, we can electrocute, and while they have the electricity procced on them, we can then hit them with water, and we're doing 2 times damage. So we should be able to get a lot of damage out of this one. This one in particular that we are looking at is at a IV of health at 85, attack at 97, and armor or defense at 87. Really good IVs on this. Not perfect, but really good. The defense on this is actually pretty low, which compared to the Suzaku, it's about the same. I have not yet to put souls in this one, so we will do that. But as it is, before we put in souls, we're at 5,605 health with 1,239 attack power and 786 defense. So first thing we're gonna do is put some souls. So yeah, as we can see here with the Suzaku and Suzaku Aqua, now that they're evened up, they're the exact same with their defense. Literally 1 point off by the IV with their defense and everything, but the health, that's interesting. The health on the Suzaku Aqua is at 7,286, meanwhile the health on this one is at 7,043. And the IVs are identical, so you can actually get more health out of the Aquas by about 200, 240. Since it is a flyer, we can quad stack our kelp seeds behind it to give us more damage. With a quad stack of kelp seeds on the Suzaku Aqua, we are now at 2,367. So pretty good damage. We do happen to have cheeseburgers and hot dogs. Cheeseburger for the Suzaku Aqua, which brings it up to 2,841. So pretty good damage off of that. And then the hot dog is for myself. If it is necessary, we will end up probably putting a Rushore hot dog on the Suzaku Aqua just to boost up its defense a bit more, because 1,000's not really going to cut it for how much we're going to have to tank, because although it is a flyer, it is not exactly the fastest one. Not necessarily slow by any means, but it does have a pretty large stamina pool here as well. So just like the Suzaku Aqua, or Suzaku, however you want to say it, I'm going to butcher it every time. The big weird looking flying water bow thingy. Also, one thing that we're going to do is we will keep Hydro Laser and Aqua Burst on here, but we added some very powerful electrical attacks because we can go back and forth. One of the only elemental combination ones where you can get something wet and it's more susceptible to electricity, or you can get something that is electrocuted and it's more susceptible to water attacks. It's one of the only two that can flip-flop like that. So we will be running probably, say, Lightning Streak. So we'll try some of these attacks. Lightning Strike is a very powerful one, and for it being a 120 AoE attack, very good. A lot of people use this on the Astagon for overworld mining, but with the introduction of coal pits and everything, if you're 2 level, where you can actually get those, you won't need this anymore as far as the mining for Astagon with the overworld mining version of them. and do everything in-house with the upcoming update on the 27th. But yeah, we'll run Lightning Streak first, see how that rolls, and we'll go ahead and go after our first pal, which is going to be Blazemut, as always. And Blazemut is very weak to water, so this ought to be interesting. Probably be able to one-hit him. Should be able to one-hit him. We can't fit in the hole. Are you having trouble getting your Suzaku Aqua into holes? All right, so I guess we'll hit him with Lightning Strike first, and then hit him with the Hydro Laser. Oh yeah, absolutely rinsed. So we have our Frostallion here. This is rocking a 86, 75, and 78. We decided to switch up the attacks, and we went with Agua Gun, Lightning Streak, and then Hydro Laser for our big attack. But it's so we can kind of stick and move a little bit more. We are going to feed him a Rush Ore hot dog. Feed myself a Rush Ore hot dog as well. Hopefully we do a little bit better. That is not what I meant to do. She's done got bored and stopped attacking me. That was awkward. That took a lot longer than expected. Yeah, that's why I'm not really a big fan of the smaller attacks, just because, yeah, it's something to hit them with, but it just doesn't offer the same power. Really doesn't. The Lightning Streak is pretty good because we can proc our lightning attacks more often, or proc our double damage more often. So yeah, I know that I only did two fights, one of them being a major fight with Frostallion, but that's kind of all that you really need to see. The Suzaku Aqua is really good against fire, but with it being gotten as like a later stage pal, the way that you get them is breeding a Suzaku with a Yormantide, which the Yormantide, as we know, we get at 45, and then we can get a Suzaku at 45. Some of the ones that are surrounding in this area are a bit lower, I think in the 35s, somewhere around there. But when it comes to the Suzaku Aqua, it's a cool thing to have and useful against fire types. So if you're able to find one in a later dungeon, which I have found as a dungeon boss, then that's not like a bad thing to use for, say, Blazemut if you're trying to farm him more often. But even with that being said, you have the applied damage version, which would be Azarobi, that you can get that has better defense capabilities and I think a larger health pool at that. Nope, not a larger health pool. Defensive wise though, that's where the Azarobi has a bit more that it can offer, or about the same. So the Suzaku Aqua actually does have a bigger health pool than the Azarobi, whatever. I don't know. That's what I've always called her. But the difference is the applied water damage is just a lot more helpful in that instance, and that's kind of the way it is with a lot of the applied damage pals versus the enhanced pals. This one in particular, I say is really good for going against fire types, so there might be some variation in the update to where this could be useful, or in the versus mode, if you're going against a fire type, which I imagine a lot of people are going to be running fire types, this would be extremely useful to use. But as far as the actual game as it sits right now, I think that the Azarobi is just a better alternative in comparison to the Suzaku Aqua because of the applied damage. But that's not to say that this is not like a terrible pal by any means. It has its usages. This also goes for the work suitability with it. They're the exact same as the Azarobi, but you get the Azarobi so much earlier than the Suzaku Aqua. Like Azarobi's right here at level 17. So, and you could go down to this little island area and pick them up at level 20 to 25, I think, something like that. But yeah, you can get the boss version and start working with that anyway, which is going to be a better health pool. And when you have the applied water damage and you're going against Blazemut, then it could be something that's useful for that. As far as like an overall and maxing it out, like I said, as of right now, it's hard to do these videos with the update coming up because we don't know what we're going to be expecting. So a lot of the stuff that I have said that might be completely useless in the past might actually turn out to be really good in versus, because there could be classes of stuff that you're going against. So I'm kind of interested how they're going to actually apply the versus arena. So I'm not sure if there's going to be actual like classes with like, you know, the earlier pals up to the later pals, like the difference in that between like smalls and heavies, or like heavyweight classes or something like that. I don't know how they're going to do it, but this could be potentially something that could be good in the future. But as of right now, it's just okay. It's cool that it's a flying pal, and it's cool that you can quad stack it, and it is a very useful water pal in general, but just the simple fact that you can get the Azarobi earlier is a little bit better. So in short, is the Suzaku Aqua worth it? I would say probably not, because there's just not very many fire pals that you go against in higher levels when you would be getting this to justify me using it as such, other than the Blazemut. The Blazemut's going to get smoked by anything once you're up to a high enough level. But if you're trying to do it earlier, then yeah, there's a way to go about it. So it could be useful for that. A lot of people might be thinking the comparison compared to the Yormantide. The problem with the Yormantide is that it actually doesn't have an enhancement like the Yormantide Ignis does. So it can be ridden on to travel across water while mounted, prevents stamina depletion while moving over water. So as far as the fighting type of this, probably your best bet is to go with the Suzaku Aqua versus the Yormantide. And when it comes down to it later on, it may become actually extremely useful. So take that with a grain of salt. But as of right now, I'd say no, don't bother with it. But if you plan on keeping your world after the update, maybe get one of these up just to have it. That's my explanation. So if you guys enjoyed this video, drop a like. If you guys enjoy my content, drop a sub. We will be going back to uploading every day once the update comes out. There was a thing that Pocket Pair put out where creators could get stuff earlier, but it's only on the Steam version, so sad for me. Other than that, keep your willy washed. We'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out.